When the late Edwina, Mama Edwina, the founder of Seed in Africa, introduced me to the person of PLO Lumumba, she said a lot of things to me about him. And there was something that was echoing. What she said was, people have their own opinion about Lumumba. But when you understand the person of PLO Lumumba, you will understand that he is the right man for the job. When I say the job, I mean then being the chairperson of African Union, because it was like we were starting a campaign for PLO Lumumba. And when I said I campaigned for PLO Lumumba to be the chairperson, I did campaign. After I had a discussion with Edwina about the person of PLO Lumumba, I fell in love with who he was and who he is, and I campaigned for him. Hey, Majesties. Yeah, PLO Lumumba for the chairperson of the African Union. I believe that he can do this job. It's gonna be end of business for the European body. Yeah, for a fact. Because the organized system, the supremacists don't want people that talks. When you talk, you're a threat to them. When you always voice out, you're a threat to them because they know one day you're going to expose them. And that's why they do not like PLO Lumumba. And that's why they push out things to you that make you look at PLO Lumumba in a different way. Oh no, this man cannot do the job. He only talks, but he does not have action. He only talks. These are part of the propaganda. And with our support, because he can't do this alone, with our support again, we will be in the right lane of kicking out our oppressor and taking hold of what. I have a belief that people have their separate opinions about personalities. Up here, I am a nobody when it comes to PLO Lumumba, but I've had people who had prayed for me to die so my children become orphans. And why? Because I have separate opinion about religion. So they felt aggrieved and they were praying to their God to honor life me. It was a fellow woman who even did that. I've had people called me out, especially about religion, because my stance for religion is it has been more of a blow to the continent than salvation. Okay? So a lot of persons do not like me, they've called me out. So I feel it is the same way for our able Papa Pierre Lumumba. People might have separate opinion, and it's like I don't want this to look like a conflict of interest here. And again, for context, this is the reason why I'm always trying to see that I give you some background story to understanding. Mutapa, who had called out PLO Lumumba, according to him, he had a feeling from the beginning that PLO Lumumba is a traitor. I believe some of you have watched that video by now because it should be up before this. This is a continuation of that video. Okay? And the reason why he's saying that, he gave some reasons, he gave some instances which you should do the job. Okay? And this is the reason why the reason why sometimes in the Black communities there are misinformation passing around is because we always want those who are bringing information to do the job 100%. At least someone has said something, do your own research, then believe whatever you want to believe. Abigail is not up here to drag you into believing anything. You should do the job yourself to have a concrete understanding of situation. Okay, so if Mutapa has said that he is suspecting PLO Lumumba to be a traitor, because from the beginning he do not even like his approach to situation, that doesn't mean Abigail have to buy the same idea of Mutapa. Abigail should go do her own research, background research to who PLO Lumumba truly is. And like I told you, this was what was flying around even prior to me personally campaigning and using my platform to call out people to vote for PLO Lumumba as the chairperson then of African Union. Okay? And like I told you, our Mama Edwina trusts PLO Lumumba 100%. And she knew PLO Lumumba on a personal ground. PLO Lumumba can attest to that because she had said a lot to me while she was alive about PLO Lumumba. And that was why I said when I saw the discussion, the video that Mutapa made, It broke my heart. But then again, we all have our opinion and approach to situation. Because my approach is different from yours does not necessarily make me a traitor. Are you understanding the situation that you get the point? For those of you who do not like listening to discussions to the end, I believe most of you have taken the initial video and have said whatever you want to say already. But anyway, that is how it is. It's unfortunate that we don't really like to do researches before making conclusion. After I had gone through recent discussions of Pierre Lumumba, I would say the reason why it is easy to say Pierre Lumumba is a traitor, like I said in the part one of this discussion, is that he do not actually take a stand when it comes to critical or sensitive situation. If you have listened to this man for some years or for some time now, you will understand what I'm saying. Pierre Lumumba is a smart man. He's an intelligent man. Okay? He understands geopolitics to the level where he understands the manipulation of America, the manipulation of Israel. He understands the critical situation Iran was in, because I think I made mention of his stance about Iran situation, Venezuela situation, America and Israel combined. The whole thing that is happening right now. The reason why some persons who already might be feeling agitated by his discourses will conclude that Pierre Lumumba is a traitor is because he do not have a stand. Okay, I stand with Iran, I stand with Israel, I stand with America. He is in the middle and is calling out each of these entities one by one and pointing out their flaws and their strengths. So while he point out the strength of America, you might think that he is of the support of America. But when you go further to understand where he is coming from, you understand that he do not just point out the flaws of America and the strength of America. He points out the strength of Israel and the flaws of Israel. He points out the strength of Iran and the flaws of Iran. I believe for some of you who watch his discusses about Iran and the situation going on right now, you understand that he has said exactly what I have been saying, that Israel and America underestimated Iran. He said that. So I think this is where Muchaba have a situation with Lumumba, and for some persons as well, because while I was campaigning for him to be the chairperson, I believe you've seen the video initially where I did campaign, right? A good number of my magistrates were saying that when he had the chance to do the job, he didn't do the job, but he was only talking. Okay. Now, if you look at the approach that PLO is using when it comes to geopolitics, analyzing situation, and even the continent of Africa, he wants to play safe. PLO Lumumba plays safe. He plays a safe game. And I think he's doing this because of past experiences of Pan-Africans, those who have stood firmly for the truth and how it has affected their life. He had learned from those situations. And I think this is his own approach. He do not want to take side. This is the only thing that I have perceived from Pierre Lumumba. And that is why while we were having a discussion with him during the campaign time for where we're saying he should emerge as a chairperson of African Union, he was playing safe, like I said. He said, even if he emerged today as a chairperson of African Union, he would not change the situation within a twinkle of an eye, because these things are already systematically organized already. It will take time. He will not, he's not a magician to change the situation of Africa within a twinkle of an eye. That was what he said. And I believe if he is here or he get to watch this video, he will understand, he will remember that this is what he said. He said, we all have to play our part when it has to do with the liberation of Africa and the whole continent at large. This is what he said. I believe Mutapa himself is looking to the freedom of Africa, and whatever he said, he's saying it from the side of he wants Africa to be free. And everything that Lumumba has done up until this time is to see that he uses voice. Okay, he's a voice that speaks for the liberation of Africa and speaks for the growth of Africa. So this is what I believe is happening here. And I want us to take a listen to some of Mutapa's discussions, and then we'll listen to some of our Papa's discussion as well, so that you understand what I'm saying. Remember, PLO Lumumba is not a traitor, as we might conclude. He is only playing safe so that he can live longer to a point where he will see some of the wishes he has for Africa come true or come to pass. Like I will say again, Mutapa is doing his part for the African community, just as Lumumba is doing his part. And I just hope and pray that we all respect each other and pray for each other to be strong enough, because this fight is not an easy fight. Even within the continent, you have pushback. People will call you names. I believe they've called Mutapa names. I believe they've called Lumumba names. Just like Mutapa is calling out Lumumba, people are also calling out Mutapa. That's what I believe as well. So let's just be guided and hope that everything is fine. That's just the prayer. And let's just be focused. Do not allow ourselves to be distracted by, some of these things. People were hoping and praying to see that Lumumba calls out Israel as an illegal state. You will hear him say something as an illegal state and outrightly tell them that they do not have the right to be there and honor like Palestinians. People wanted Lumumba to take side and say, okay, this is that. Like I said, Lumumba is not somebody you would expect him to, be taking sides. Lumumba does not take side. Lumumba plays safe game. And I think this is the reason why people have other notion about the personality of PLO Lumumba. That's just what I just want to bring out to you here. And, you listen to these things and leave your thought there at the section.
The State Secretary of United States of America, Marco Rubio, he went backwards and narrated how much they were flourishing for the past 500 years. A confirmation that they colonized us for 500 years. Remember, the white people in the United States of America are not the natives of the United States of America. The natives were wiped out. How were they wiped out? Biological warfare. Marco Rubio told his counterparts or the allies of United States of America, their homeland, the Europeans, those who sat on the Berlin Conference, he reminded them that we were flourishing due to colonialism. Our missionaries were all out, indoctrinating and exploiting. He reminded them that they built Europe and the United States of America from free labor and free resources, exploitation and brain drainage of whatever sort of kind of a human being from all over the world. He reminded them not to regret and not to apologize, not to repent, but instead to come up with the new strategies of recolonization. He said their expedition was disturbed in 1945 by the rising of communism and socialism. That is Soviet Union. My fellow Africans, if you remember, I have called for 50 million boots. I have called for air defense system. I have called for nuclear weapons for Africa. I remember after I said all those things, I was then banned from traveling to Europe, of which I don't bother. But I was saying that not as a prophet. But I knew what was coming. Here we are. It's unfolding. They are no longer hiding at all. A monster like United States of America and her allies, upon realizing that they are losing power, they can unleash the beasts. And they are unstoppable. There's only one way to stop them. Russia, I have said several times that Russia is not fighting for her own survival. The fall of Russia is the fall of Africa. Russia is fighting 32 countries in Ukraine today because of Africa. Russia has helped Africa. Russia has disturbed their colonial expedition. And they are now aware that in the next 20 years, Europe and the United States of America is going to collapse. So how to stop that? They have to fight Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran. After dealing with these few countries, then they will go back again to their drawing table. The Westerners, in early 1960s, they sat down and said, we are fighting with the black people in Africa, and the black people are fighting for their independence. We can't afford to lose many more people. White soldiers. Our population is smaller than the population of Africa. What should we do? Let us silence the guns. Let us use another methods to shorten their lives, to unalive them through the biological warfare. They can have cocoa in Africa, but here in Europe, we produce chocolate and we send it back to Africa. They will eat it. So why worry? When they get sick with that chocolate we have produced in Europe, they will need some medication and we send the vaccine there. So why worry? They will need some deodorants. So what's your problem? Send them the deodorants. Send them the perfumes. They need it in Africa. We shorten their lives. We sterilize them. We weaken their genes. That is a depopulation agenda. A reminder to the African leaders. I am saying, if you are a leader in Africa, you are President Mnangagwa, whatever president you are, this is the time to join the AES and call for nuclear weapons for Africa. We can borrow those nuclear weapons for now, while at least we are developing ours. If we don't do that, they are coming. What they did to Venezuela is what they are going to do to all of you African leaders.
Israel is seen as this beloved country. And the Israelis themselves have not hesitated to go back to history and to go back to the Torah and say that we are chosen of God. And because we are chosen of God, we are different. We are unique. And because we are unique, we must be treated differently. And America, which has underwritten the state of Israel from its creation in 1948, has reinforced this so that the Israelis actually believe that they are special. They believe that they can do no wrong. They believe that they are God-guided. So when you are dealing with the people who believe that they are undertaking a divine mission, then the first casualty is logic. The American government and the Israeli government was that it was going to be a short, sharp, efficient engagement, and then they get out. But it was always clear that Iran is not your typical target. Iran is a country that has been preparing for the eventuality. And in many ways, the Israelis and the Americans underestimated. They thought they would do a Maduro-like thing. But that, of course, has not happened. They then made the assumption that once you hit the head, that is the elimination of Ayatollah Khamenei, then there would be confusion within the ranks of the leadership in Iran.